Hello, listeners. This is episode 37 of the Double Cross Anime Podcast with Whooper and Mario. I'm Whooper, and here's Mario.
Hello, guys.
The fall season is winding its way down. We're halfway through December now, so we're up to week 11 for our seasonal shows, which at this point are Bunny Girl Senpai, Gridman, and Run with the Wind. We've also got episode 5 of Giant Robo. That's out of 7, so we're on track to finish that by the end of the year.
Yep.
And volume 4 of Akuno Hana, The Flowers of Evil, contains chapters 18 through 22. So we're moving into territory that the anime did not cover, the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing today. What is
Right.
first?
All right.
What do you think?
Run with the Wind.
Sure. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my drink. All right, Run with the
Yep.
Wind, episode 11. So this show's 2 core, and this is the last episode of Run with the Wind that's going to air on TV until January 8th.
All right.
So we're going to go like
3 week break.
3 weeks on the podcast at least of a break. And I suppose it's about 3 weeks in real life as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how'd you feel about this episode, given that it is the last one we'll see for quite some time?
I still think it does a solid job.
Ah, there's the word solid. I was expecting that.
It and well, it's not. I'm not that impressed to it compared to the last few episodes. But for that I say because the episode put develop more with to Shindo,
Right. Yeah.
a guy to might get into his breaking point, and I like it though because while it's not like that big of the emotional development that they're doing right now, he's the most reliable, he's the most relatable characters that are in the whole team.
I
So
guess because he's kind of like a normal dude with no
yep,
weird
and
quirks or attitude problems or anything.
that's right. I can see myself related to him the most, and I can see like his frustrating regarding into he try his best but he doesn't get the results that he want.
Yeah, I would have liked the show to actually dig a little bit more into his frustration,
Yep.
or at least for it to be a little more visible as a part of his character. Because we certainly there were plenty of reasons for him to
Be
for him to be
frustrated.
for frustration to be like building in him. We get him breaking up with his girlfriend, and
Whom we never see her real face.
yeah, we never see her face. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a
The
a trick
intentional.
as old as time, like not showing the face of a character who we're like we're not supposed to connect with completely, or who like, I mean, in this instance, I think that the reason that they don't show part of her face is because she's literally like absent.
Stranger.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
a stranger to Shindo. She's been absent in the show. She's been absent from his life because he's dedicating himself to something different. Yeah.
Yep.
So we didn't get to see her whole face, but the rest of her looked pretty good. He must be
Yep.
he must be pretty
Lucky.
broken up about it.
Well, he isn't that sad about that though. Or
I think he
I
is.
mean, like he is really sad, but he doesn't show that a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's still attending school, like I think perfect attendance rate as well.
Yeah, one of the
And
twins says he never skips class. Yeah.
Yeah, he never sees skip class. He's also still to do his bit on the running training. He even run more because he wanted to run more, and he spent a lot of extra time to developing a web.
Yeah, he's
So-
the fan site for the
Yep, for the
whatever.
club for the club.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, he been really busy and he commit like 100% to like the quest, the club quest. But like he didn't receive enough, result regarding to all his effort.
Yeah, which is why he would be frustrated. And
Yep.
I like the conversation that he has in, I think it's his room, or maybe it's Nico-chan's room with
Hmm.
Yuki and Kakeru.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And like this is after, like, shortly after he's broken up with his girlfriend, and Yuki makes that comment like, "Oh man, if I had a daughter, I would make sure that she married you." And
Yep.
you really seem to have your shit together. Like you've really got everything figured out. And he
Mm.
all we get from him, is oh no, that's really not true. Blah blah blah. I'm not really that great.
Mm.
And that makes sense that he would be internalizing all of the conflict that he's feeling. He wouldn't necessarily let it show. He's not like a Kakadu type of character who would
Mm.
just be like taken over by negativity. But at the
Yep.
same time, I would have liked to see, like
He
maybe we'll get
snap.
more of it. No, not I don't want to see him snap because I don't think that's not who he is. But
Yep.
for him to be like a
I
little less social and a little less friendly,
Yep.
that's what I would have expected. Maybe
Yep.
we'll get that in the future. I don't know.
I do think that this is just a beginning, so it just like like hints into like his problem first, and then they try to develop that into into event or something. But that we have to wait until like 3 more weeks to know
I
or more.
suppose. Yeah, or more. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that the show would necessarily pick back up right away.
That's right. That's right.
Which that's kind of a shame because he's one of the least developed characters, I think, or he was before this
That
episode.
that's I agree because he tend to be the guy who support everything.
Right.
So we didn't really see him like everyone have their quote and everyone have their own way of thinking, and we don't really know what his way of thinking except for that he agreed to do everything. He's the one who like if he had to decide between being forced to do something and really like what what he forced to do, he would prefer to do it, all the kind all this kind of crap. But
Yeah, he was pretty on board with the, like, becoming a team, becoming
yep.
part of the 10-man squad before
Yep.
most other people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there like a scene where they're all sitting around the dinner table or something, and he's drunk and he's like, "Let's do
Yep.
it. Let's
Yep.
let's run the Hakone Ekiden."
Yeah, that's right. He's the one who did
Yeah,
that. Yes.
and it kind of brings everybody together at least a little bit. Maybe not
Yep.
King or Yuki or some of the more hesitant characters, but somebody
Mm-hmm.
makes a comment in this episode. I think it's Kakeru that, like, without Shindo, they wouldn't be a team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that they brought that up in the same episode where Fujioka, the guy on the cover of the track and field magazine, is also
All right.
referred
Yep.
to as a strong leader
Yep.
by Haiji. I don't know if they were trying to draw some kind of parallel there. I
Um.
kind of doubt it because Shindo is definitely not a central character.
No. No. I think Shindo is just the guy who bring everyone together. So he not necessarily a leader. So I think that context is to Kaiji and Kakeru, because I want to get into that now. Um, it's actually an issue to Haiji as well when Yuki and Shindo can't improve anymore in terms of the timing.
Yeah.
So it eventually is Haiji responsibility now in order to train way in which they can improve their running time. So at the moment he as lost as well. He doesn't know what to do. Like we don't really know about that though, but he seemed to not know what is the next step for this guy.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Haiji, we're seeing more and more vulnerability from Haiji as time goes on. Because at the
Mm-hmm.
start of the series, he was like, you know, he was,
He's the one who willing to do everything.
Yeah, he like makes the meals and uh, draws up the game plans, like the workout routines and all their strategies and stuff. But
Yep.
even before he got to that point, when all the guys were still like, I don't know if if I really want to do this, if I want to be running all the time and dedicating my entire life to
Not
this
live.
being on a team with you guys.
Yep.
Even before, like when that was going on, he seemed very self confident and self assured. Like that running
Yep.
was the thing that everybody should be doing with themselves.
Yep.
But now that everybody is on the same page and they all want to be a part of this group together, and their friendship has been deepened as a result. Now we see less confidence and less sureness from
Yep.
Haiji. Like we see him in the doctor's office in this episode.
Hmm.
His knee is being checked on, and later in the episode he says that he's been told not to run,
Yep.
but
Yep.
he's
Yep.
doing
Yep.
it anyway. So that's probably constantly plaguing him, like in the back of his mind. And then we
Mhm.
see him. He gets the same magazine that Kakadu does, which I think was a nice moment. They both got the magazine independent of one another because they're both like crazy about running.
Yep.
And when he sees that Fujioka is on the cover, he reads it and he sets it down. He says, "Damn that guy."
Yep.
Like and I have to imagine that what's going through his mind when he says that is like jealousy, I suppose,
Yep.
or bitterness that this guy is like so successful and really seems to have it together in a way that everybody assumes that he does, but he really doesn't.
Yep. 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 That's right.
So some interesting work being done with Haiji's character in this episode in the background, I think.
Yep. And I think that the talk about the leader being strong is regarded to him, Haiji, more than to Shindo.
Yeah. Yeah, the conversation that he has with Kakadu, like
Yep.
what adjective best describes a leader? What's the best thing that you can say about a leader?
Yep. One special shout out about the animation though is that when Haiji and Kakeru in the kitchen, and we see many shots of Kakeru cutting down one of
carrot.
the carrot, is it?
Yeah.
And the way that he cut down, you can really see that he not familiar to all this at all. So I think that's a very nice bit of animations and attention to detail.
What are
this
all the
series
pieces
has.
like different sizes or something?
Nah, it's because of the way he cut. The way he cut, it's very slowly. It's very, like indecisive. It's very unsure of what he cut.
Ah, okay.
Yep,
I did
I
not.
can see that.
I saw that he was. I mean, the show went back to the shot of him cutting the carrots like 4 times during that conversation. So obviously, it had some relevance to what he was
Yep.
saying. And he literally says, I'm unsure," or like I'm anxious. He says something to that effect.
Yep, yep.
As he's talking to Haiji, because he is also, worried about Shindo and Yuki's times.
Yep.
And I
But
have to assume also like Prince and King, they probably haven't
Yep.
qualified either.
Yep. And it has something to do with him not familiar to the kitchen as well. Because when the very first shot we see up a hand cutting a carrot, and then a hand doing the soup things, and I was like, like the first guy wasn't really familiar to kitchen, and the second guy was really good at the kitchen, and it turned out that it Hachi and Kakeru who doing those.
There are a lot of
that's really nice.
there are a lot of scenes in the kitchen.
Yeah,
in
that
this,
there was.
in
Yep.
this show, not just this
In the sh-
episode.
That's right.
Like the big argument between Prince and Kakadu, that happens in the kitchen.
Yep.
They eat tons of their meals in there. I don't know. I feel like if I went back and watched every episode, there'd be like a dozen more examples.
And even to Hannah Chan cooking.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. I still wanted to try that.
You still want to try her cooking just to see how terrible it is?
It might not be terrible, It
Well,
just
Prince and
You-
Kakadu both seem to enjoy it.
that's right. See,
I would rather try Yuki's ex-girlfriend's cooking, to be honest.
oh, all right, ex-girlfriend.
Oh, not Yuki's ex-girlfriend. Shindo's
Shindo,
ex-girlfriend.
all right.
Yeah.
I
Her
don't
cooking.
know. I'm not sure if she can cook though.
Even if she can't. That's
If-
fine. I'd rather try it.
right.
Then Hana's? No, thank you.
All right. So, yep. What do you think about the guy at the end of the episodes?
Right. The journalist or something. He has a
Yeah.
camera around his neck.
He set the camera. Yep.
Yeah, I assume that he's some kind of journalist because I'm guessing that like he's gonna play some role in popularizing or publicizing.
He seemed to recognize Kakeru, I think.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the words that he mouthed at the end of the episode that we can't hear were Kakeru's name, like his first and last name.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know if it was like the correct amount of syllables or anything, but it was definitely Kakeru who he was. I mean, I assume that his recognition of Kakeru on that page that Shindo designs
Yep.
is the reason for him contacting the guy in the like at the market, Hana's
Yep.
dad. That's the reason he goes and seeks them out in the first place, is because
Right.
he recognizes Kakeru.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know. Maybe he covered Kakeru like when he was in high school or something.
Mhm.
I don't really know.
I would assume the same though.
Yeah, but he seemed like dumbstruck by him, which was a bit of an odd reaction.
Yeah, that's right. So like whatever the deal is, we're gonna see that in the next year.
Yeah, I guess in 3 weeks
Yep.
or 4. I don't know.
All right. So next year I promise that I'm done. I'm done saying the show being
It's solid.
solid.
No, I think you'll probably say it in a month's time. You'll have forgotten.
I'm gonna look for another words.
There are plenty of alternatives. There are plenty of synonyms for that word. That's the nice thing about language is that there's always an
Interchangeable.
alternative. Yeah, there's always a different way of expressing
Right.
whatever it is you're thinking. The question is like, are you able to change it up? So we'll see.
We will see. All right. You have any other notes on this episode?
No notes, but I do. You should, if you're listening to this, or Mario, I guess you would be interested in a little sneak
Yep.
preview. You should expect this show to end up in my top 10 for the year. Definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. I'm not really sure it will be on my top 15, but we will see on that as well.
Yeah.
And another note is that since this show is on the next episode will play in January, we will decide what we will cover next for the next 2 episodes at the end of the year. We might just just give more time for other shows, but
Yeah.
we will see on that.
Yeah, I actually do want to talk about like what our plan is going to be over the next few weeks, but we can do that off camera or off microphone, whatever the phrase is.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
All
So,
right.
Bunny Girl or Gridman? What do you think?
Let's go with Bunny Girl.
Okay.
So we get to the new arc, which is the Little Sisters. From
Before-
what I heard though,
Go
yep,
ahead.
yep, before.
Before we talk about that, let's talk about the press conference that opens the episode.
All right, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
What is so funny about that though?
The whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, she addressing that she having a boyfriend.
Yeah, why is that necessary?
Oh,
Japan
well,
is so fucked up.
You know like in the idol show that actually happened a lot.
I know.
Well,
That's what's so messed up, dude.
yeah, and I know I know pretty sure that the K-pop, the boy bands in the Korean shows, they're not allowed to have any girlfriend or boyfriend, and it even like will destroy their career.
Yeah, that's all real. That stuff's all real.
That's all real. So I think it's a actually a pretty nice step that they hold the whole press conference to address that in Bendigo Senpai.
It's ridiculous.
In
Like,
which in which she say that she having a boyfriend. She's it won't expect it won't affect her whole career, and like she got the seal of approval of the director, so that all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out. But first they had to have a press conference, which was attended by a ridiculous amount of journalists. Did you see how many people were in that room? That's like the main contributing factor to me finding this so funny. Is that like half the press corps of the nation of Japan is like in attendance at this thing.
She's like number one or two actress. Like she's like the top actress in Japan. What did you expect?
Yeah, that's the other thing is that we don't really get a sense of that as the show goes on because it dedicates so much time to like, you know, other girls week to week. There's got to be some new girl that Sakuta is like hanging out with. So we don't actually know that much about Mai, I don't have like the clearest sense of who she is as a character.
Alright, even to the last act where you can see her actually participating and practicing many of her commercial act and movies and
someone else was in her body. Someone else was like, or someone else looked like her at that point. And I mean, it's true that we saw her at a commercial shoot, but in general, we don't really. That doesn't seem to be like a big part of her character. The main part of her character is just Sakuta's girlfriend, Sakuta's GF. That's like who she is.
All right.
So that's why it makes it funnier that she's at this press conference. And then the best part, the icing on the cake, is that the show then turns around and tries to make Japan seem like a really forward-thinking country. When the guy sitting next to her is like, no one in this country would upload photos of somebody to the internet without their permission.
Right.
when she says that thing about like respecting Sakuta's privacy or whatever, and he's like, oh, nobody would do that. When there's literally a law that was passed in Japan that when a cell phone takes a picture, there has to be a snapping noise, like the noise of a shutter snapping, because of so many creep shots that were happening in like the mid 2000s when cell phone technology was first getting like widely distributed. That's so ridiculous to me. Oh my god.
But you know, apparently that's so all the problems. You know, Sakuta haven't have anyone following him, taking a picture of him, so it's work out fine.
Yeah.
Yep, that's ridiculous.
Incredible. I just had to spend 5 minutes talking about that because it was so funny to me.
All right.
So what were you going to say about Kaide or whatever arc this is or something?
All right. Yeah. What I want to say is that the ex-girlfriend of Sakura or the one that Sakura having a crush on, I think her name is Shoko.
Yeah.
From what I heard, we're gonna get the OVAs regarding her act.
Ah, okay.
So like afterwards, so like the this episodes and the next two, I think, gonna be the little sister act. So yep, that's what I wanna say. And this episode we get into the little sister act.
Right. Kaide, yes.
Kaide.
She of the panda suit.
Yep. And I must say though, that's what I'm been afraid for the last few weeks has come true. That she's just unbearable.
She's unbearable. Damn, I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that.
Why?
I don't necessarily disagree, but I just didn't think that you would find her to be unbearable because she's got, you know, like her whole backstory about how she can't answer the phone because of her, you know, the ordeal that she went through at school, and you know, like the scene where she goes outside.
That I kind of respect that though. I kind of respect that she have her whole reason for not going for being like mentally scarred. But the moment that she want to improve herself, that she have like her notebook.
Yes.
Her things to do, and it's all about like everything have to do with her brothers.
I mean,
so
what?
Just like, oh my
did you expect anything less? Though, and every time she shows up, practically, she's like, "Oh, I love my Oni-chan. I love my Oni-chan."
So that's why that's what I'm afraid. You know, like I expect her to be more. You know, like more getting out of like her Oni-chan's shadows. But you know, like the moment
this show is about Sakuta.
Yes, so that's exactly right. It's all about Sakuta's, and it's all about like Sakuta helping her, not about herself. So like the moment that I see that her notebook have everything about like Sakuta, like even like like she have like a step of taking a breath every second step.
Yeah.
That that doesn't really irritating me so much that it had to do with everything have to do with Sakutas.
I mean, I kind of expected that to be the
And
case. So I actually was not disappointed by that. I was just like, I just kind of nodded my head as that was
uh,
happening. Like, yep,
and
checks out.
and well, and they did take like, I mean, 7 8 minutes, 10 minutes for her getting out of the door.
It wasn't that long.
It,
He
it
he
feels that
comes he,
long.
he comes back home and she's like already dressed up and ready to go. She just gets on her shoes and then like hugs him, I guess, and then he walks for it. Probably took like 2 minutes.
Oh my god, it feels so long. It, so it's just like I'm not a fan of this,
Yeah.
development. I mean it's good that she can stay outside. She can go outside now. She can enjoy the view outside the beach and stuff.
Yeah. What is it with
It's
this show and the beach? Why is the beach important in like every single arc and even every single episode? Have you
I
noticed
think
that?
because it just set in the town that next to the beach.
Yeah, I guess, but is that a reason for it to be featured in every single like I don't know. I get the feeling that the author just seems to think that the beach is like the most significant and most romantic uh,
Uh,
place in the entire world, and that's
uh,
why
uh,
everything
he
revolves
just
around it.
he just wanted the beach in like the show identity, which I don't see that at all. I just feel like it's just randomly put on the show right now, and and we have like the cliffhanger that's supposed to be a shocker. That
She has no
I don't.
memories.
She doesn't have any memories regarding the bully, but I mean like it can be dropped at any times. I don't see the reason why they need to hide until that to put that into the big moment, because it's not that big of a deal at all.
I thought we already knew that she had no memories.
I didn't know that actually. I
It
didn't
w-
know beforehand, but
okay,
I
I thought, huh,
I don't really care.
maybe maybe I just imagined that, but I thought that that had already been explained to us as the audience, but then nobody else knew. It was just Sakuta who knew.
No, I didn't know about that.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I mean, I'm
yeah,
probably wrong because I forget lots of details about the show from week to week. For example, all the stuff with Makinohara Shoko, the girl,
all
and
right.
how there's like two different versions of her from two timelines or two time periods or something.
Yep.
Every time she's mentioned, I think to myself, oh yeah, she is a character, isn't she? Because
Oh,
I always forget. Like for since episode 4 or 5 or something, there have been
yep.
like little mentions of her every week, but it's
That. Yep.
and then I just forget because like it seems they're stretching that arc out so far that it's become transparent. You know how like when you
All right. Right.
stretch something,
Yep.
I'm thinking of like what is it called? What's that stuff that you
The
press onto a
the
news? Silly putty. You know when you like stretch something like that really far, it becomes transparent in the middle. That's
Yep.
how I feel about all the
Um,
stuff with Shoko.
I was thinking about the chewing gum.
Yeah,
What you
that too.
talking
It
about?
it gets a little bit see through in the middle, kind of like lighter
Yep.
colored, and yeah.
Yep.
That's how I feel about everything having to do with her character. It's just they take it so slowly and they stretch it out so
I
far in the background that it loses its
Yep.
memorability, I suppose.
I can see your point. I actually like that though. I actually like the way that they just setting up right now and not eventually get back to it. I just don't like the show when they just try to develop an act, putting on all these reference just for that one act. So I like it's messy like this. But it's just me.
Um, yeah, well, it's. I mean,
Alright, so,
it sounds to me like you'll just accept whatever doesn't have to do with Kaide.
yeah, I know. Well,
Anything
yes,
not
that's
having to
right.
do with her, you're like, give me that, not this, please.
Yeah, but I have we have like 1 or 2 more episodes regarding her, and I still don't know the deal. What gonna be happen in the next 2 episodes?
Well, we know that the little red mark appeared on her neck
Oh yeah, that's right.
after she did the phone answering practice
Yep.
with Mai.
Actually, it actually intriguing though. Like whenever there is, I don't know why it caused that though.
I think that's
Maybe
already been explained as well,
too much
right?
stress.
Well, we've seen it before. We've seen her with like the red marks in a past
Yep.
flashback.
Yep.
Probably really early on in the show when Sakuto was explaining her condition to Mai when they were first getting closer together.
Yep.
Um,
Well,
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't. It seems it's almost like a handprint on her neck,
Huh. Right.
which is kind of
Yep.
scary to think about.
Mm.
I don't know. Like I don't really care either how her whole her arc is wrapped up. But we've there's only 2
We
episodes
signed for
left, so
this. Yep. So,
yeah, we did sign up for this.
so yeah, I have no other complaint regarding. Well, I have to go through with this. It's alright with me though.
As long as there are no more press conference scenes, I'll be all right. I did start laughing out loud when she collapsed after answering the phone. I just thought that
All
was really
right. Yeah.
funny.
That that too much for her. You have to think of like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, there must have been a better way to show that she was like exhausted. You could have, instead of making it physical exhaustion, you could have just made it like emotional exhaustion. I don't know. She like slumps down in a chair, and
Yep.
then let's say maybe Mai would sit down next to her and say you did a great job, and she would like kind of look over and smile at her weakly.
Faint. Right. Well,
Yeah, she doesn't need
I
to faint. Yeah, that's
all right. This is the point where I want to make a comparison between this show and another show that you had.
Monogatari.
No. Snafu.
Oh,
What is its full name? The romantic comedy. Blah blah.
yeah, Yahari is what I
Yeah,
usually call it.
that show they have like a very good little sister characters.
Oh God,
I
there's a
think
little
like
sister character in that show. Of course there
there's a
is.
little. Of course there is. The same hair though, and she's she's like one of the she doesn't have an act of her own, but the way that she talk, the way that she interact to the main character actually tell us a lot about her personality.
And
It's
how
not
much
the
she
case
loves
here.
him.
It part of it,
Be
yes.
honest. It's a light novel. Be honest.
It's not much about him. No, it's about how she cares about him, not about how much she loves him. If you think that's a difference.
I see.
All right.
I mean, I have
So
to take your word for it. I don't remember.
yeah. So yes, they. I'm still glad that they try to make Kade that as a individual characters in the show, but I still think that she's like the the
Worst
show
girl.
the worst girl. Just put it that way.
I don't think they've necessarily failed to individualize her yet. The
Not
concept of
yet.
her like practicing answering the phone is kind of interesting, and that she
Yep.
would have such difficulty going outside. That's on a just as an idea.
Just
That's
don't hop
kind
on into
kind
her
of
product
intriguing.
yeah, just don't hop on into her product every single second.
Dude,
please.
literally, why not? That's gonna sell some Blu-rays right there. You know that there are
God.
just some like weirdos who are gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm buying the Blu-ray of this now for this scene.
Kinda.
I want to be able to
My
rewatch
girl.
this scene.
Hmm.
It's all about selling those Blu-rays, baby.
All right. All right. I have another reference, so I'll be quick with this one.
Oh, let's hear it.
Um, I was watching some of Haganite. I don't have too many friends.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
Uh, that the show about a guy who like he looked like a delinquent, so that's why people just doesn't want to make friends with him.
But of
And
course, he actually does have tons of friends, and they're all female.
that's right. And all these female they make a club of
Oh,
like of making friends together, of the club of every lonely single student
yeah.
into one club. You
Yeah.
know.
I think I've heard of this before.
All right, and he have a little sister as well, of course.
Hmm.
And I still intriguing into that show until the moment that the little sister basically just naked. And because I
Oh,
was in the Blu-ray version, so she have like like nipple and all, jump into
well,
him because
thanks.
of
Thanks for letting me
she's
know.
yeah, because of she's scared of some stuff. My God, I just stop it right there. I just Jesus Christ. It give me scar. It give me like like trauma
Well,
of
that's
having little sister.
see.
Thank God that I don't have any little sisters.
Uh, I guess.
Oh my God.
I always wanted a little sister when I was younger. I was mad when my younger brother was born and it wasn't a
I
girl.
I actually
This
wanted
was
to
when I
have
was
a
3 years
little
old,
sister.
though.
Yeah, well, I actually want to have a little sister, but I don't know what I will behave though when I do really have a little
I
sister.
think you would have behaved normally as long as you didn't watch too many of these
No.
cartoons.
No. I mean like I would be like the guy, the boy in me, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
be all jealousy and stuff. I don't know,
maybe.
man.
We'll never know.
We never know.
All right, let's forget about Kaide and move on to Gridman.
Yep, Gridman. All right, what do you think about the last episode of Gridman?
Slop,
What did
just sloppy,
Slop? Yeah.
sloppy. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
so disappointed.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like it that much.
Why is he suddenly Grid Knight? I know this happened in the previous episode, but where was the foreshadowing that this would happen? Where was the setup? Where is the logic in him suddenly being Grid Knight?
All right.
I don't get it.
The most logical reason is that he no longer captured his second heart, and he wanted to be near Gridman.
Why does
So
that make him Grid Knight?
uh,
Why
because
wouldn't he just, as a kaiju, fight against Alexis and the other kaiju?
all right, because Gridman is kind of a throwaway characters before, so they want to make him. They want to revive him.
Huh?
They want to revive Grid Knight as like an actual characters.
What do you mean? Who is they in that sentence? Who wants to revive him?
The studio, the
Oh,
the
Trigger.
people who made the stuff.
I see. Yeah, they just want Grid Knight to be in the show, so Auntie takes that role. I mean, it kind of feels that way. Like, I would understand that if Auntie's role in the show has been kind of confusing from the very beginning. Like the way that he continues to return to Akane, even though she is abusive towards him.
Yep.
I never totally got a handle on their relationship. Like whether she created him or I don't
Well,
think she did. She was just in control of him somehow, or he just latched on to her because he wanted to kill Gridman, and the reason for that, I don't even understand that. Like,
all right,
I don't know.
that actually pretty vague. But the that from what I understand about it though, is that someone making him at the kaiju, but somehow he regarded Akane as his creator, so that's why he listened to Akane, and that's why Akane had been using him and abusing him
Yeah, why does he regard Akane as his creator?
for some reason I don't know. Huh.
There needs to. I feel like there ought to be a reason.
Mm.
And this show does. I mean, if I ever rewatch this show, and I'm pretty disappointed with it. I do think that there's still a lot of merit to watching it. I think that it
Yeah.
is very experimental and very. It's like worth your time if you're thinking about watching
I
it.
just love the visual of it. I just love the visual storytelling.
Yeah, I think it has an interesting mood to it.
Yep.
But like I don't, and I do feel as though if I went back, I'm not sure that I will, but if I went back and rewatched it, there might be a lot that I can get from a
Take
second
on.
viewing. Like
Yep.
I might be able to
Might-
understand the relationship between characters, or or
Yep.
the show might be pointing towards future events in previous episodes. Like for example, the dream episode in that was number 9.
Yep.
If you
Yep.
rewatch the series, there's probably going to be a lot of connections between what you see
Yep.
in that
Yep.
dream and past
Mhm.
events. But
Oh,
like I don't know. I feel as though there should have been a stronger through line leading up to this moment when things are finally starting to become clear, which they actually aren't really. Like I still don't get the nature of Akane's divinity, like her godhood. That's not
yeah.
clear to me. What role exactly she plays in relation to Alexis Carib? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
your thoughts? Do you think you understand any of this stuff, or
No, 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 because the Akane X actually is pretty much a letdown for me because I wanted to know more about Akane's or like her relationship with Alexis, like you said. But we haven't seen any of that at all, and we just seen for the last 2 episodes he just kind of like just walking around aimlessly, uh, stab someone, and then like aimlessly walking around aimlessly again. So we just don't. I'm actually disappointed in like that Akane right now because it's because what we do learn though from this episode is that grit let's say Utah actually gridman. I still don't know how they word it though. Is that like
Yuta
Utah
is
is
actually Gridman in Yuta's body, so he has Gridman's consciousness, and it's
all right? Yeah.
from the very beginning we've thought of him as like an amnesiac,
Yep.
but that's not really true. He's actually Gridman, so he wouldn't have any of Yuta's memories.
All right.
So the real Yuta is still asleep somewhere. I think that's alluded to at one point
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in this episode.
What I don't understand though is that why he doesn't know that he's gridman from that point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because Akane set it up that way because she's God. LOL. I have no
Uh,
idea.
all right. um, all right. Putting that aside, I from this episode, I also like the chemistry between Rika and the boy. What's his name?
Utsumi?
Usumi, because I remember in one of those old episodes where Rika and Usumi having their own issues that they cannot like share to each other.
Yeah, that's the
We,
one where Utsumi is like, we need to go on the attack. We need to like defeat Akane. And
no. That was way before that. That was when Utah first lose when Utah and Gridman first lost to Auntie, and they haven't had any contact to Utah, so they've been
they
like
think he's dead.
slowly, yeah, they think he's dead, and they Usumi just say that he wanted to disband the Gridman associations. Remember that? And
Kind of, yeah.
Rika she was like really hang up on the fact that she didn't pick up Utah for before, and now he's end up missing. And we have like the first episode of that, the first half of that episode where we just having them just hanging, just hangover, just having them lost on their own thought, and we have that again in this episodes where there is no kind of communication between Rika and Usumi. I like that. I like the way that they're supposed to be on the same team. They are supposed to be having the same role, but they just can't communicate to each other until Rika just went off by her own, and Usumi he's again stay in the hospital, and like I don't have anything else to do
Right.
except for looking out for Utah.
Yeah. I
Nice.
did notice that Utsumi's character was going through. He was like disappointed at his lack of involvement in the
Yep.
larger
Mhm.
conflict, and he kind of felt useless. But it's, I mean, that's kind of interesting. But the thing is that it's the show itself that is tossing his character to the side in favor of showing us Akane wandering around the street,
Yep.
and like Yuta staring in a mirror and seeing Gridman, and like,
And
what was the deal with the increased role of Rika's mom? I like, hello, why? I
I
think somebody just really loves her character design or her voice actress or something. There's
I
like some weird quasi-political thing that's going on where it's not about what's happening in universe, it's about what's happening outside the show, like in the production of it. I don't really, that's kind of strange.
yeah, that kind of strange as well. But but I mean, like in Gridman, anything can happen. Do you actually realize that her voice actress is the same voice actress as the as Haruko in Fulikuli?
Yeah,
Haruka.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they want to keep her. I don't. Yeah, I see that is strange as well.
They got to keep her around in case they're able to make a Furikuri 4, like the third
Reference
sequel.
maybe.
Trigger wants
I
in on that action.
have no idea, man. But I do agree with you on that. That it's strange that we see more of her in these episodes for some reason that we never know. And in the end, though, we have Rika and Akane finally catching up to each other. And oh my god, that's just like a development that I was waiting for like 2 episodes before, not now.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I expected it. I think we both expected that
yeah,
it would happen. But I mean, I'm not. It's not as though I'm like unimpressed with it. I feel as though it was incomplete. Like there wasn't enough back and forth between them for me to get any sort of feeling from it. Because
that's
Alexis
right.
just like interrupts and says, "Oh, you're gonna be a monster now," and she starts to transform. That's it.
Yep.
Is
Well,
the conclusion to this show really going to be like Rika screaming really loud, like standing in the middle of the street screaming like Akane, and then she transforms back into a girl and beats Alexis somehow, and that's the end, or what? Like what? I just don't
um,
see a way
um,
forward.
or maybe we have like some sort of flashback right then. But well, I do think that the show really rack for the last 2 episodes. It doesn't need to be that much, emptiness. That much, nothing happening like
Yeah,
in the last 2 episodes.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. There's plenty of stuff going on, like Auntie
Yeah.
becoming Grid Knight.
Yep.
That could have been like handled much differently than it is.
Mm-hmm.
If we knew more about like what Gridman, like the nature of Gridman,
Mm-hmm.
how the link between the real world and whatever his virtual world is, how that works exactly, then him becoming like essentially leaving behind his kaiju heritage and becoming Grid Knight, that might have a lot more significance. But the thing
Right.
is, like, the relationship between the two worlds in this show has never really been explored. The Gridman doesn't seem
Yep.
to be interested in that. What it does instead is it creates opportunities for fights between robots and kaiju. Like
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It's like one half character study, one half like beat 'em up
Yep.
action robot fight.
Yep. Yep.
And then there doesn't seem to be like a huge link between the two parts. And I think that might be the show's primary failing, is that it
Mm.
does seem to be kind of two different shows in my opinion.
Yep.
Um, they're not linked as well as they might be.
Yep. Well, I
So
kind of agree with you on that because for me, what I really invested to is the first one. So not the kaiju fight. So it's like 7-3, like 8-2. But now they focus more on the kaiju fight as well, and there's not enough connection between the fight and the characters.
well, there's still, the characters are still on screen more than the
Yep.
Gridman,
Yep.
the Gridman or the Grid Knights or the kaiju of the series. We still get plenty of time with the characters. It's just that I don't know. It's not totally working out because
And
the
it,
like
it
the realizations that they're coming to, or the ways that their relationships are changing is
I
they're just not they don't seem to be moving towards like an end. I don't know.
all right.
I just think
I
it's kind of sloppy. That's the word
all
I
right.
used first, and that's how I feel about
All
it pretty
right.
much.
Because I think like the last episode and this episode, they catch you fast like the narrative weight. Because we know that Akane is the one behind that, and we know that Akane doesn't want the fight as well. So like everything that happened between like Kaichu and Gridman or Kaichu and Grid Knights, we know that it doesn't really affect the or we invested much into those five because the emotional core is for Akane, and she's still very lacking at that.
Yeah, maybe if we knew a little bit more about Akane, like her relationship with Alexis, or why she's forced into this situation where she has to kill Gridman, or
Mm-hmm.
what exactly is going on in the show, like on a metaphysical level, what kind of universe they inhabit, or just like what Akane's deal is in general, her conflict.
Over. Yep.
If what she's going through right now, if that were made more clear to us and we could feel her pain a little bit better,
Yep.
then that would probably be to the show's benefit.
That's right. I want her reason. I don't want her, just seeing her aimlessly
Wandering around the city.
wandering around. Yes, that's right. So
Yeah.
yes, I do feel disappointed into the last two episodes of Gridman, but I hope that
There's only one
is
left. Like, I'm scared.
is it only
Yep.
one left?
Yeah.
Shit. All right. I just hope that the last episode gonna be a blow away. Hopefully, it's blow me away on the last episodes.
Excuse me, I'm
It
sorry.
that's right. It did blow me away on the episode 9, so I hopefully they do the same kind of magic.
Yeah, hopefully so. We'll see, I guess.
Yep. All right. Next, you have anything else?
No.
All right. So next is Flower of Evils,
All right. Dude, my
Volume 4.
yeah, my you're reading like the official translations. You have
That's right.
You have physical volumes. You own them.
Yep.
I've been reading some shitty online stuff that is
All right.
it like, regardless of putting aside the issue of whether it's well translated, it just looks like crap. Like the
Is it?
scans are really low res. The text is like super pixelated and strange and is not centered within the speech bubbles. It's all like left oriented, so all the little bits of each sentence or each phrase start at the same. It looks gross.
All right.
Uh,
Because
so that
I don't
sucks.
I don't recall that issues. I don't remember much about the quality of the scan when I first read it. Like I think
Oh, did
few
you
years
read
ago.
it online first
So
before you bought it?
that's right. I read it online first,
Well,
and I just noticed there was many of the main of the explanations,
many
which is good.
explanations. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean like
manga
at the end of each chapter, the author's notes or whatever?
No, it's not the outer note. It's the translation note.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there was one of those in, I think, chapter 18, when he's like throwing up into the bag. There was there was a little translation note that's a translator's note that said, "Those are puking sounds, LOL," or something along those lines. There have been a lot of those actually in what I've read so far. I try to ignore them.
That's very informative. Hey.
Yeah,
All right.
I guess.
So bad luck to you that the chance the quality isn't that good.
Yeah,
Because
I read it.
book,
Go ahead.
From the book that I read, it's looked really good.
Well, I'm sure
Sorry-
it's a
sorry to say
professional
that.
product. I looked ahead a little bit, and the group that did chapters like 20 through 26, that's the only work that they've done, and then after that, a different group picks it up, and it looks a lot cleaner. So
All
I'll
right,
only
so
have to deal
yeah.
with this for like another. And I clicked around. I went to a bunch of different manga streaming or hosting sites, whatever you call them, and they all seem to
Yep.
have the same stuff. So for the
Yeah,
next volume,
us-
I'm gonna have to deal with it, but then after that, it should be fine, I guess.
All right, because usually they will have the same stuff on the
Yeah.
different manga side.
Yeah, because they all steal from each other.
That's right.
I mean, the people who are actually doing the stealing are the, like the scanlators and the groups that are hosting the stuff, because this is a licensed series, but
Yep.
I guess I should say they borrow from each other.
Right. For
Anyway,
my book, for my manga, on the end of the of the outer notes, we have like the location tour. So it's like the
yeah, I saw
pictures.
that. I saw that
Oh, you saw that as well.
at the end of
Oh,
chapter 22, right? All the
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, there's nothing that much different from the manga that I have and from the version that you read.
Oh, it's different. I assume yours is in proper English.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well,
Mine not always, but I think I got the gist of everything that was happening.
yep. All right.
And it helps that the anime goes up, like you said, it goes up to chapter 20.
Yep, that's right.
So,
All right. So,
what are your thoughts?
I think that is slow. Do you think that is slow? Because like a volume that we read, there isn't a lot much to happen, but one or two things did happen is really life changing. I think.
I think it's moving at about the same pace that it always has. There's just
Is
a little
it?
bit of
Right.
there's just a little bit of a lull, like a reset to the status quo a bit, because everybody's back in school, and when they go up to the mountain, it seems like everything is moving really quickly just because it's more dramatic and it's a bit of a climax in the story. But now that things
Yep.
are back to being set primarily at the school building and in the characters' homes and stuff, I don't think it's moving any slower.
Yep.
Because
Alright, I
we're
got that.
still building to bits like the fort, like the theft of the panties and the fort that Kasuga makes by the river and all that stuff.
Mhm.
All that is still
So,
going on. There's still plenty of depravity.
all right. So one thing that I can say is in this volume is that Kasuga become more determined into what he wanna do.
Yeah.
So we doesn't have any of the spyless, like decisionless, crying main character anymore. Now he know what to do, even if it bring a lot of uncomfortableness to us. It's well, it.
I don't know. I don't, this manga doesn't really make me uncomfortable. Actually, I don't.
All right.
I wouldn't
Yep.
say that.
Yep.
I don't really have anything to elaborate on. Like when he
All right.
when he does something that's kind of disgusting or
All right. I think
lewd.
that
I don't know.
I
It's
think
the character designs looking like they do. It just prevents me from being too grossed out. It's like, they're all kids, and I don't know.
yeah. And one thing though, I think the uncomfortable that we have is more regarding to him. At first, regarding to him like scaring of people finding out and all that stuff. So now that he get over it, we don't feel any more of the uncomfortable, right?
Okay, so like
It's
you're
more of
saying
like
that
asking actually.
it's more what?
It more of me asking. So it's not the argument. It's more like I trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Like because there's less tension surrounding his actions because he's more determined to help Nakamura, and he's not. We don't get the constant panels of him like sweating and blushing and
Yep.
and looking like, oh no, what if they find out that I'm a pervert? Oh no. Yeah, I
Now
guess.
now he's like I'm a pervert and I want to. But in his word, I want to make the other side here
Right.
that Nakamura can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually like the moment when he get into her room. It's actually pretty nerve cracking. I mean like in the anime they actually did a very good job on that.
That part of the anime, like the very end after they've been
Yep.
picked up by the police in the mountain, that part has not really stuck with me. So,
Oh.
like my memory was really refreshed as I read.
Yep.
I didn't remember the contents of her diary.
Yeah.
But
Right.
now I do. And you can, as he flips through what she's read, you can tell how excited she was to find, somebody who she thought was like a kindred spirit at school, and how disappointed she was because you get that one at the very end of
Wait.
her diary, like, I
Yep.
couldn't go to the other side. That's just it, smack dab in the middle of that page. You can feel
Yeah.
how disappointed she is at the turn of events, like Kasuga's decision or his indecision.
I think he said we, or she said we, or is that she said I?
Oh, my translation said I. Did it say in yours we couldn't go to the other side?
Yep. I think it say in mine that we didn't go to the other side.
Oh wow, that's
It's,
a very significant difference because if she
yeah.
says we, then she's still thinking of them as like a duo in her
Yep.
mind.
All right.
And
So let me check one bit.
or
All
you
right.
got it in front of you?
I got it in front of me.
Okay.
So yeah, my translation said we didn't make it into the other side. We
Okay.
didn't make it. So like she wrote it twice.
Huh. Well, yeah. Then I mean that kind of indicates that she still thinks of Kasuga as like a partner, you know,
Yep.
which makes her kind of denial of him or her like strategy of ignoring him and kind
Yep.
of making him prove himself to her. We know that
Well,
that's just like an act.
all right. I think that
Excuse me.
yeah the we actually saying much different than the I, and what else? Actually, I think that she been very disappointing to Kazuya decisions,
Yeah.
and that's she very disappointed that she doesn't want to have anything to do with him until he can prove himself. So that what he does. He try to prove himself that he can still be useful to her.
Right. I mean, one of the main reasons that he does that he tries to prove himself in that way is because he has that dream in chapter 18.
Yep, that's a good one as well.
They're in the middle of that field of like the little flowers with the eyeballs, the
Evil.
flowers of evil. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she says that she wanted to go to the other side with him and calls him a liar, and
Yep.
he wakes up like, I got to save her. I have to write
Yep.
this. I have to write this composition. I have to write this. What word does your translation use?
All right.
What is it that he writes exactly?
Give me 5 seconds. They just said, "Let me write. I won't leave you all alone."
Let me write. That's all he says.
Let me write. Yep.
Okay. My translation called it a composition over and over, which I think is kind of
Composition.
it's kind of interesting because it highlights his like pretentiousness
Yeah.
using
And
that word to describe whatever it is he would write.
and later when he tried to read that to her, he said that it's the confession,
Yeah.
the essay, the essays.
Yeah. Essay. Okay. Yeah. Essay works.
Yep.
She just keeps walking in chapter I think 19,
Mhm.
which is after the dream and after he makes up his mind to write this thing.
Yep.
He's trying to read it to her on their way home from school or something, and she keeps walking. That's when he goes to
Yep.
her house and like her dad catches him, and that kind of brings
Oh,
us.
all right. So what did she write on the door of her room in your versions?
I can't remember. I guess I could
Alright.
look it up. What does
Yeah.
yours say?
Stay out, shitbug.
Shit bug?
Yep. Because
Okay.
I don't remember they are like that in the Scanlation version.
Let me. We probably shouldn't spend our entire time discussing it,
That's
like
right.
comparing the translations. But let me go ahead and find it real quick because I think I
Yes.
remember
Alright.
it was in chapter
Chapter-
20.
Chapter 20. Yep.
Yeah, and that would be right around here, maybe. Let's see. All right. So I'm at the part where she comes into the room. Oh, okay. I think I found it. Shitheads don't enter.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Did they stay out, shitbug? All right.
Shit bug.
Yep.
It's the same general idea. Yeah.
Yep.
So she's as foul at home as she is at school. Like when her dad is talking to Kasuga, he says, I just don't understand her. Like the only time that she talks to me, all she does is swear. Like
Yep.
that's how she expresses herself at home as well.
Hmm.
So, and it's interesting to see the difference in what you would expect her home life to be versus what it actually is. Like we learned that her parents got divorced when she was 5 years old.
Hmm.
But at the same time, her grandmother and her father seem to be fairly typical people. They seem to be like, at least they're welcoming to a stranger,
Yep.
you know,
That's
and
right.
they're happy to hear, or at least they seem to be happy to hear that their daughter has made a friend, or
Yep.
that daughter slash granddaughter. Um, so it makes you wonder, you know, like why is she like this? What exactly has
That's right.
possessed her to act this way?
I think it's have more to do with the way she see the world. So the more it have to do with her personality. And I actually like it that like she not from a like abusive parent or something, because it's a way of too cliche. This is good, like she have like a normal parents, even like if her mom is they got divorced before,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't have any like like abuse or anything. It's just
Well,
the way
we don't
we
know
did
that
know
for
that
sure at
we,
this
we
point.
don't know that
Yeah.
for sure.
I
That's
mean,
right.
I kind of feel as though her family situation actually is a little bit more twisted
Mm-hmm.
than this chapter or this volume will is letting on. But
Yeah.
I'm also the kind of person who really wants to figure out, like, you know, psychologically why are characters acting the way they do? Why are their personalities? Why have they been shaped,
Yep.
you know, the way that they are? So I mean, maybe it is just that she's. I kind of think that the reason for her acting the way that she does is because she had some like terrible sexual experience.
Hmm.
That would be my guess. You know, that's why
Yep.
she views everything as being perverted, and why she's so obsessed with Kasuga, who she feels is like may have been like similarly may think similarly to her. I don't know, like the kind of stuff
Yep.
that he reads about, because
Mhm.
Baudelaire is apparently his works are very sexual in nature.
All right.
Uh, I don't know, but like I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. We're not even halfway through the manga, but I don't know if that's something that the author is interested in exploring.
Yeah, not really sure as well. You have
Well,
to read it for yourself.
yeah, you are sure. You just can't say.
And I so what do you think about Kasuga act right now? So he decided to steal every girls in his class underwear,
Except for Psyche.
except for Psyche. That's a good one. And yeah, and he just put them all in the shred. I don't know
Yeah.
what I even call. And yeah, and invite uh, Nakamura there, so
Right.
that can be like their world, their other side.
Yeah, that fort that he makes, or what? Do you have a better word than fort? What exactly would you call that?
Straight. I just call that a straight.
A strait?
A straight.
I'm
Right.
not.
So yeah.
I'm not sure what you
Uh,
mean.
yeah. I just call that.
Type it out. We got time.
Yeah,
Oh, a shed?
yeah, but it's not. Yeah, it's not really a shed as well.
No, a shed. A shed is like much.
I know, but
A shed is like
I
man-made. I mean, this is man-made
it's
as well, but
it's my as well.
a shed is like totally artificial. It's like it's almost a dwelling, or not. It's not intended to be a dwelling, rather, and this kind of is. This is like half biological because isn't it partly composed of like the tall grass, and then
Oh,
he's
right.
like duct taped a bunch of
Yep.
like paper and stuff inside, or
Mhm.
cardboard maybe.
Yeah, a couple, I think.
Yeah. Uh, anyway, yeah, it's really weird what he's done. It's obviously, you know, it would be very disturbing if his parents knew that he was still doing this sort of
Uh,
thing and stuff.
and I think he's just doing that to get Nakamura approval.
Oh, of course, yeah, and I think it makes sense that he's acting this way because he kind of did indicate in the previous volume on the mountain that he would side with Nakamura over Psyche because he I think empathizes more with her view of the world, like of everything kind of having a perverted tinge to it, like
Yep.
everything being kind of fucked up and kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he thinks, rather than Psyche kind of denying that and saying that everything, even the things that appear to be unnatural, are actually like typical. The way the
Yep.
world appears is natural and normal, and it shouldn't be feared.
Yep.
So it makes sense that he would still be pursuing Nakamura, like,
Ideas.
yeah, because he seems to have similar ideas. It's not just that he pities her or that he's into her or anything like that. I just think they have like an ideological link between them.
And yeah, and to think that he's left Psyche's behind
Yeah,
the underpants. I mean,
right,
and
right,
I
right.
think that's like one way that even both Psyche and Nakamura eventually pick up on that is the it's him who do that, who do all the things.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting that he leaves hers behind. I also think that makes sense. So
Yep.
I was what's the word, heartened or encouraged, I guess, to
Yep.
see that his plan took the shape that it did, and also
Mm-hmm.
that he left Psyche's underwear behind, because
Yep.
it, like, his obsession with her wouldn't just disappear. I don't think he is like a
Yep.
hormonal teenager,
Yep.
and he's also somebody who probably, like, even though he professes the desire to, like, become perverted and all that stuff, I think he still uh, has some naive ideas about, like, purity. And he,
Yep.
what is it that he says to Nakamura, like, no,
You got
I didn't
this.
steal her, no,
Yep.
not
Right.
goddess, but like, I didn't steal her
I
underwear. That would be the very worst thing that I could do.
that's what he said. Yes.
Yeah, something like that. So it perhaps it's just guilt even that um,
Yeah.
prevented him from stealing hers.
I think it's guilt, and it's more. It's also about like Psyche is like someone he can't touch. So that basically that literally that what he did.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think I like that. But Psyche, she picked that on as well, and I think she been confessing to her friend about that,
Yeah, in
which
chapter
is like
22, she
in
starts to
the
kind of.
very last channel, very last page that we got.
No, the very last page is, it's interesting. She says to her friend, like, um, I like I'm sorry for calling you out here, but there's something I have to tell you. I don't want to be alone anymore. And then
Yep.
just right after that, there's one more page with Kasuga and Nakamura talking
Mhm.
around the fire
Yep.
in
Oh,
their fort. That's the last
I
page.
I love that file as well because it's make up of his book, The Flower of Evils. So he have no regard to reading book now. So he don't want to read book anymore, and even like his favorite book he could toss aside for this. I think that's have a lot of symbolism on that. And then Nakamura even put her underwear, her
Right.
underpants down as
Right.
well.
Yeah, they've
So
both essentially discarded something that is, like, precious to them, kind
yep.
of.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and here's my theory. Like, you say that there's some nice symbolism there. I kind of agree, but it's difficult to make out exactly what it is, because The
Hmm.
Flowers of Evil as a book is kind of dedicated to the like the stripping away of innocence.
All right.
So why then would he set it on fire as a way of dedicating himself to corruption? Like, the book The Flowers
Well,
of Evil represents corruption.
yeah. Well, actually, in this context, in not in the book context, but in the manga context, the book, The Flower of Evil, is like I think it's Katsuga design for like for a bad I it just like it Katsuya perfect version that the version that he wanted to be himself as. I'm not really sure how to put that, but it's just like it's a rejection of his perfect, of his like normal perfect life. It's just like another skin had been peeled. That's what for me.
I see. I
So
kind
it's
of
more. Yep. Sorry. Yep. Go on. Go on.
I kind of get what you mean.
Yeah.
Like the book, his, or not just that book, but his reading books like that in general,
Mm-hmm.
kind of represents like him being better than or being superior to other people.
Yep. Yep.
And so now he's leaving that behind because he doesn't view himself as being better than anybody. He thinks of himself as like a shitworm, as
Yep.
he
Mm-hmm.
calls himself to Nakamura, like in in the hopes that she'll like acknowledge him again in this
Right.
volume. So we even get that conversation between him and his dad.
Yep.
His
Mm-hmm.
dad's like, I found this, this book of poetry or this book by some author that you really like. I think you should read it. And he says, I don't need books anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he might be even trying to cast away like his naivete, his like reliance on that book,
Yep.
to feel disgusting or to feel corrupt or to kind of get into a darker mindset. He doesn't need that anymore because now he wants to
He experienced that.
transform himself into like the other side.
Yep.
For Nakamura, he wants to be the place that she can go essentially,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because she has nowhere else to go, and he maybe he thinks of himself as having nowhere else to go either. But I think even more than that, he just really wants for there to be no other place for him to go. He wants to put himself into a situation where he can't turn to anybody except for Nakamura.
Yep.
So he's doing all this subconsciously because he I think he probably wants to be found out on some level.
Yep.
He just wants for his whole life to get completely
by
fucked
Nakamura.
up. No, by everybody.
All right.
I think that some part of him just wants his whole life to get totally, completely fucked, and for it just to be him and Nakamura against like the entire world. And if he keeps going this way, that's what's going to happen. Because he already was forgiven, I suppose, by his parents once. But and they, his dad says to him, "You're not doing anything else weird, are you?" This is not still going on.
Yeah.
I think a part of him does want to be discovered.
All right. That's a nice explanation again. I think you did one last week as well.
Yeah, well, the events, I wouldn't say this manga is really weird, but the events that are portrayed in this manga are really weird. So it kind of begs the reader to dig a little deeper and like understand what could possibly be going on in the minds of these characters. What could rationalize or justify what's happening on the page? Like who would act this way? But do you know the theory of like human beings having a death drive?
All right, I
Like-
don't know that.
Okay, it's a Freudian thing. Like everybody
Yep.
on some level wants to die,
Right,
because
yep.
death represents a permanent escape from like all pain and all suffering,
All right.
anxiety, sadness. There on some level everybody wants to experience death.
Yep.
Because
All
they know it'll end any negative emotions or experiences that they might have to go through. I think something similar is going on with Kasuga here. He is so messed up, in his head, and he's built Nakamura's worldview up in his head as being like correct and.
Yep.
That he wants to see it realized. Like he wants to go as far as he possibly can, and have he wants to reject everything else apart from her, and he wants to be rejected by everyone else apart from her.
So that he wanted to see how all this will result.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he wants her acceptance, and like as twisted as she is and as like antisocial as she is, the best way to get her to accept him is for nobody else to accept him.
That's right. Yeah.
Like if he's hated, if he's hated by everyone, then she will love him.
Right. Right. Wow. That's a very good discussion there. Again, uh, wait until like next volume to see like if everything of your thought is good or not, or like if go on the direction that you think it is.
Well, I mean, I think it would take longer than that, more
Yeah,
than just one volume.
Take few more volume to see that.
Yeah, I do like at the same time, like even though Kasuga has all these really strange thoughts in his head, probably as a result of his mother doesn't seem to be the warmest parental figure. I think that probably plays some role in how like his strange way of thinking and all the literature that he's read and idealized, and Nakamura espousing her views on how the whole world is like an ocean of shit. All that stuff is really kind of messed him up a little bit. But I do think that it's good that the author of the manga also manages to like leave some sort of kernel of normalcy and of innocence in his character. Like there are moments where you can tell that he really is just some guy. He's some dude.
Which is
what? Oh, like what moments are those?
Yeah, what moments are those?
I actually did not take any like specific notes about that, but that's a feeling that I get when I just watch his character move through the weird situations that he's constructed for himself. I think that he's not actually as twisted as this, but this is what he wants for himself. But at his core, yep. I don't know if that's who he really is.
Wow, that's that's another one that like I think that is the central of the theme that we're gonna explore. So that who is really is, like if those perfect thing is like really his or not.
Right, if that's who he truly is, and
yep.
I'm sure that at some point one of the central themes or central questions of the story will be who are we really, and is it possible to tell? Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get into Chan Robo now because it's running late now. But
oh yeah.
Wow. I will keep remembers on this discussion that you talk now. So like in the end of the manga, we can see back and see
give me a score.
Yeah. if you are right on track or not.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to the episode 5 of Chan Robo, which I think is a huge coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
For the show.
I agree.
It's pretty good. It's like I like the event happening on screen, and I even like the flashback. Which
me too.
Would explain like more in details. I don't really like the twist that like that him and Vogel end up to be a good guy, but it serves the story very well as well.
Is Vogler a good guy?
Well,
I know the twist that you're talking about, but I'm not sure that I would say he's a good guy.
All right. So I will rephrase my word. That's he been framed by the other 4 scientists.
Yeah. So what happens exactly is like Shizuma is actually the one. Professor Shizuma is actually the one who pushes for their system to be activated, even though it's only 98% complete.
Yep.
But the interesting thing is that even though he's the one arguing against that, he is still like when the opportunity presents itself, when the machine is like kind of malfunctioning or whatever, he still takes that opportunity to I don't know what drives him to do what he does.
All right, he just wanted to save the world actually, because he think that 98% is good enough, so he wanted to be like act quickly in order to like get all these functioned. But it turned out that like the 2% error that caused the tragedy of Bastille. And one interesting fact is that like the person who like in the center of that tragedies were all alive. they all escape that, like that tragedies.
Right. Well, you can see in that scene in the flashback that they all tell Vogler, like, we're leaving, we're abandoning this facility.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them like running through the hall as those doors close.
Yep.
And he, what I'm not totally clear on is why like, he's the one who's kind of set against Shizuma's decision
Yep.
to activate their system.
Yep.
So why is he at the very end? He's suddenly tempted to go up and
All right.
like become the master of the night, or what is it that he says? The creator of the night, something like that. What, like,
Yep.
why, if he's established as the one who's like more cautious and more dedicated to safety, why did he do that?
I think it's just like it just more like, like if you do that already, just do that all the way. So like, because as hard he still, like want the experience to be, like to be realized and to see how it ends. So like when everyone see that it had a problem and they back out, he wanted to stay there to see that until the end.
Yeah.
So it's just like the scientist, mind.
Yeah, definitely. I think that makes the most sense, that he was just like overwhelmed by scientific curiosity.
That's
and,
right. Yep.
And so I mean, it's true that he does remove one of the cylinders. Like, he walks up those steps after having that fight with the other scientists. Like, there's a physical altercation between them. In those shots that are like flashing black and white really fast, that like would give somebody epilepsy.
Yep.
He kind of like pushes them all away, or there's some sort of brawl between him and Shizuma, something like that. And then he walks up those steps. He removes one of the Shizuma drive cylinder things. I guess it's just like my scientific ignorance or something, but I don't understand why he removes it, or what exactly he was looking for, what he means by becoming. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say like the master of the night, or what?
Yep.
He's always going on about that. I don't totally understand that.
I don't remember the exact word that he said, but yeah, he did say something about that, and even though he said like he wanted to stay until the end, he actually get rescued. Oh,
yeah, by his son.
Is that because who have like the teleport ability? Is that his son, or is that he?
Both his daughter and his son have that ability.
All right, yeah. So that he was saved by his son.
Right, and then we get into the story about them like living underneath the experiment, like the site of the tragedy of Bashtar. They're living under there, and eventually Genya, his son, or Emmanuel, depending on who you're listening to, because they both have two names apparently.
Yep.
He brings the Shizuma drive home. Or home, I guess it's not really much of a home, but he brings him the Shizuma drive, and it's really interesting, like the look on Vogler's face when that happens. He's like, is he angry? Is he saddened? Is he jealous? Is like, what is he? That's.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either, and I don't think that Vogler wanted to get revenge.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Why don't you think that?
I do think that he wanted to, like get the Shimura drive to be in a perfect conditions. So that more of his quest than than have his contribution corrected by all the wrong accusations. So I think that his son got it wrong, but yeah. So that's the thing that I got.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Genya like misinterpreted his father's dying wishes, because the order of events, I guess, is he brings the Shizuma drive back to where they're staying, and his father shuts himself up in a room.
Yep.
And we get those shots of Genya like banging on the door, and eventually it opens, and what his father has created are anti-Shizuma drive capsules or
That's
anti-schism
right.
drive cylinders. So I kind of get the sense that his father created those in case the schism drive like malfunctioned or something.
Go overload or something.
Yeah, in case the tragedy of Bashtar were to actually be replicated, those cylinders that he created would be a defense against that. Because I think he's probably plagued by guilt
Yep.
at what they all did, like all of the scientists together as a collective. He hates that he had a part in that, and so he created kind of like a safety device or like an off switch, a last resort.
That's right.
That his son could use in case the Shizuma drive like went too far. But his son is actually consumed with the desire for revenge because he had to watch his father die in shame, while the rest of the world thought that he was a villain.
Right.
So I agree. I think he's just misunderstood.
And I also like the way that they developed the show, developed Daishoku as well. So now we have like his flashback with like his father on his dying wish, and we see the connection like the first time that Daishoku met Chan Robo as well. But I must say one thing though is that is the worst father that I see. He even worse than Walker when you think about that, because who the hell would give like his 6-7 years old son like a the whole responsibilities to save the world and a philosophical questions for him to think. My God, I wouldn't do that.
The one of the characters actually makes a comment to him as well, like, do you know what you're doing by entrusting your son with this responsibility? It was I can't remember what the guy's name is, but it's that detective guy in the red coat, the red jacket, who seems to be immortal. Like he can't, that must be his power, is that he can't die from like physical injury. Because we've seen him get like hacked up by a sword, we've seen him get shot.
I actually like in this episode we see like 3 or 4 characters who apparently thought that they die, but they fake. they fake death. Oh my God, this happened a lot. But
I guess his dad's not a great guy. I mean, he was a part of Big Fire in the first place, so that's obviously not a good look. And he gives. Yeah, but that's a theme in anime, right? Like terrible dads who force like burdens onto their sons of like saving the world or blah blah blah. It probably has to do with like, I don't know, maybe the Japanese feel as though the previous generation left them with too big a burden. Like maybe their involvement in World War II was too much for the nation to bear, and so the next generation inherited all of that debt and all of that suffering. That's probably where that comes from, if I had to guess.
Well, but who would leave the dying note to his son that remember the questions is sacrifice is what did he say actually?
Can happiness be achieved without sacrifice?
Oh my God, that's just so out there, just so.
Yeah, he's terrible, and I feel as though that was like the theme of this episode was the loss of innocence.
Well, I think that the sacrifice have to be made in order to make the world better.
Right. Well, there's that as well. I think that might be a theme of like the entire series. But in this episode in particular, we have Daisaku, who obviously his childhood was totally aborted when he was given control of Robo. We have Ginrei, who she says to Tetsugu in that moment when they're both in the Greta Garbo, like that big airship that's crashed in the mountains, like the snowy mountains. She says to him, the day of the tragedy of Bashdarla was the last day that I could consider myself a child.
That's right. Yep.
And then Tetsugu he killed his own father. Without knowing that he was like a member of, or he killed a member of Big Fire without knowing that it was his own father, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So they all lost their childhoods, basically. They lost their innocence.
And he has a very like moving speech towards Daisaku before he died as well.
Right. Yeah, I'd actually forgotten how much scorn he kind of placed on Daisaku in the first couple of episodes, and how he thought he
Yep.
was like a big brat and stuff. I had kind of forgotten
Yep.
about that because the series shifted its focus elsewhere. But then when he comes back and he says like I was just projecting all of my issues with my father onto you, and all of my frustration at the I don't know the course that my life has taken. I was just pushing it all on you, and I'm sorry
Yep.
about that.
Mhm.
And then he then he dies,
Oh,
or he
and
seems to. He's probably alive.
oh my god, yes, he probably alive. See that samurai guy, who
Yeah,
was like,
with the mask.
yeah, who was like knocked. I think like his spine was knocked in half. Was
Yeah,
and he's still
Tetsugu puts him
alive.
over his shoulders and cracks his spine.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, that was a great move, a great killing move.
Yeah, it
And
was. There
how
was
the hell that
actually
he's alive afterwards?
yeah, there was a lot of style to this episode, like a lot of characters acting cool, and
Mm.
it was pretty neat.
Yep.
I thought it was
The
all the
monk.
all the conflict, like all the scenes
Yeah.
between characters on opposing sides.
Yep.
It was all pretty dramatic,
That's right.
Even at the very end when Alberto, the member of Big Fire, he's like, I'm
He's
taking
somehow
over this.
alive.
I'm taking this over. Yeah, exactly. I thought he died with Taiso in that big explosion, but apparently not. But it kind of makes sense because Alberto's power is to wield fire, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. That's
Sort
right.
of.
That's right. Yep.
So it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't die in the explosion. Or it's not fire exactly. It's like that red and black looking plasma energy stuff. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought this episode was like extremely stylish. I really liked the look of it. I really liked also how there seemed to be a common theme throughout all the characters' stories. Like it's not just Daisaku, Ginrei, and Tetsugu, but also Genya.
Yep.
He wasn't exactly a child during the time of Bashdarle, but he was a teenager, and he had this terrible burden of having to look after his dying father.
That's right. So like I enjoyed this episode a lot. I like you said, I like the style of it. I like the story that move everything forward, and I just think like it's come to a great conclusion now with only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, I hope so. I thought,
So,
I thought it was good too.
mm-hmm. All right. Anything else on your note?
Yeah, I actually have a few more things that I want to talk about, but we really don't have time for that. I
Sure.
very very briefly I will mention that I think we get a glimpse of Big Fire's leader in this
All right.
episode.
I
Uh,
didn't notice that actually. Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
At the end of Genya's flashback after his father has died, when he leaves from their hiding place,
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
who
Mr.
looks
Guy.
over and smiles at him,
Yep.
he has like the panther. He's accompanied by that panther, and he's holding like a bouquet of flowers as though he's like also in mourning for Vogler's death. Uh, And the scene at the end with Alberto being like, "So even this was the will of Big Fire," that big dramatic conclusion.
Right.
They always seem to work in a mention to the leader of Big Fire in most of these 5 episodes so far. So I do think that
He will
he's
appear.
gonna he's gonna show up eventually, and it'll be pretty significant.
All right. And one more thing that I want to say about is the very last scene after the credit.
Oh yeah,
That we see Ginrei inside a tube.
yeah.
Uh,
It seems to be like a clone of her, maybe, or
yeah.
something.
I'm not really sure what I can make out of it, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, definitely provides some intrigue leading into episode 6,
That's right.
which we will get to next week.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have nothing else to say about this week
Okay,
in
I will.
anime.
I'll bring it. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it home.
All right. Yep.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Next week, gonna do some more. Obviously, Run with the Wind. had its last episode of 2018 this week, so we won't be talking about that, but we should be covering everything else. And
Yep.
you know, we're also making plans about how we're gonna, you know, ring in 2019. We got to do our best of 2018 stuff. So look forward to that in a few weeks.
All right.
Thanks for listening,
Thank you
guys.
for listening. See ya. Bye.